You want your hips to turn, right? It starts from your chin, it ends on your chin, right? How do you get your hand from here to here? That's the biggest question. Muscle coordination is the alignment of all your muscles working together in harmony. But when you drop the shoulder, it opens up a bit of space. So yeah, if I were you, get a good stance, nice and relaxed, hands on the chin, and understand how to get your hand from here to here. All right, morning guys, thank you for tuning in, really appreciate it. Hope everyone is doing well today. This video we're going to be talking about the complexities of a hook, right? It can be a left hook for orthodox. We're really going to focus on the lead hook because a rear hook is a little different. That's a separate video. But if you're a southpaw, don't worry, just switch the stance round. That's going to be a right hook for you. But we're going to delve into, you know, the different angles, and I'm going to explain to you the mechanics of a hook. But I'm also going to give you some demonstrations and some pointers on how you, the beginner, can actually work on your hook or understand it from a different perspective. You know, I like to come out here and speak a bit more freely. Sometimes I'm in the gym, it's a bit noisy, I don't have as much time to really elaborate or articulate myself. But out here, I'm just, you know, in a little baseball pitch. I usually go over there where there's a bit more space, but people are playing football this morning. So we're gonna use this, but this is all good. It's like 7 a.m. trying to catch the morning magic hour, which is a good lighting, because I want to get the lighting and I want to get this channel as professional as I possibly can. But thank you for joining me, really appreciate it. Gratitude to anyone, welcome along, anybody new, and thanks to all the subscribers. Let's get into it, right? So let's just say a left hook, right? If you're orthodox, a lead hook, very complex, right? In the sense that, you know, you can throw it from so many different ranges, okay? Meaning it can be a short, tight hook here, and then I will get into the different types of hook as well, because I've spoken about that briefly. But there are mainly two types of hooks, but there's actually more than that, because it can become a hybrid, right? You've got the shovel, kind of shovel uppercut hook. You've got a left hook to the body. You've got a left hook with a palm facing down. You've got a left hook with the thumb facing up. You've got just a wide looping left hook like that. Then there's a fighter called Gennady Golovkin. He used to throw a left hook like that, which is coming down on the top of the temple. So if you think about it, from a hook from there to here, short, you know, powerful, wide angles, you know, it's really an amazing punch, really. And I would highly recommend you get good at a left hook, because it's just a brilliant weapon to use offensively but also defensively. I'll make a separate video about a hook called a check hook, which is similar to a counter hook, where, you know, basically you're backing off and you're hooking your opponent that's coming in, and then you're moving out the way at the same time. Very beautiful counter punching punch. But this video, you know, I just wanted to explain to you, as I said, the complexities is it, and how to throw it and what to look for. And let me just change the camera angle and I'll give you a better view. So as always, a good stance is imperative, right? You need a good foundation, you need good balance with all your punches, really, to get the best out of them. This is so important. I'm going to make another video on the stance and go into detail on how and why and when, and you know, as much information as I can possibly give you, so you can start in the right place. Because if you don't have a good stance, let's just say I'm like this, my balance is a little off, my shoulders aren't in the right place, it's going to be weirder for the hook. I'm not going to get the rotation from my body and my torso. So coming back here already opens it up nicely, right? So with a left hook, basic mechanics is you want to get the arm from here to here, right, in somewhat of a right angle, because the power is going to travel through here. The two knuckles on the front are going to be the area you want to land, right, because they're the bigger bones. They travel through the arm here. You don't want the arm coming up in an angle like that or like that as a beginner. You need to build that strength, that wrist strength up. You know, as you develop and build that up, you're going to find you can punch wherever and be able to take it. But for now, you want to come in like this. You want it to be a little bit loose and rhythmical. Right? What I mean by that is, you know, this channel is for beginners, but I'm going to delve into some higher up teachings when it comes to punching, because that is my specialty. You know, I've been teaching beginners for, you know, almost 14 years now, and I've been boxing for what, 15, 16 years, something like that. But I really specialize in punch technique, whilst trying to, you know, motivate create discipline for fighters and push forward. A lot of self-belief and, you know, motivation, but just, you know, help beginners be a better boxer, but focus on their punching and focus on things that they can do today to better themselves from a higher level, specifically with punching. But as the channel grows, I'll be bringing in more, you know, videos on everything to do with boxing, but I want to focus on punching today. So how do you get your hand from here to here? That's the biggest question, right? Many mistakes beginners do make is they're a little bit too robotic, right? But you have to use your hips and use your torso, right, to get that swing and that rhythm. But when you bring it round, you don't want to be too robotic like this, right? Just be a bit loose. And then a big key is how to whip that hook in, right? Let me face it here. Bam! It's just a whip there, but a lot of it's because it's very loose and rhythmical. And as I said, a little, I was going to say fast, but you don't have to throw it fast. Just throw it at the right pace where you can get the good technique. That's really important. Getting good technique is paramount. And often, you know, power and speed will become, you know, the focus point, but you should drop that down and definitely focus on good technique and to build up the consistency, so you can then build the speed and power up. But you're going to want to turn your front leg. Another kind of mistake that beginners do, you know, they're taught to turn the front foot, which is 100% true. You should do that. Just don't get carried away with it, right? Don't turn it so much where it leaves your body out of position or it doesn't feel natural, you know? I don't have to always turn my hook like that, but if my body's telling me to, turn it a little bit, because you do want that rhythm and that torque to work in harmony. But as I said, don't overturn it. You know, you'll see even top professionals, and you watch Canelo, he doesn't really turn his left hook that much, you know. He does it a little bit sometimes. A lot of it can depend on where your foot position is in comparison to where your opponent is. But if you're just hitting the bag, you know, I'm not saying don't turn it, you should definitely turn it. Just focus on everything working in harmony together. You want your hips to turn, right? Boom, the rhythm, and then you want your arm to come up in a right angle like that. And now with regards to what type of hooks there are, essentially, you know, as I said, there are many different types, but the main two types are a palm facing down, right, which is typically a shorter punch like this on the inside, although it can be used as a power shot too. You know, the trajectory is a little bit different. The muscle groups involved are a little bit different. There's less muscle groups involved for this one, right? So usually mainly the rotator cuff, and it's just a shorter, sharper, crisper shot like that, boom. But then you have a palm face generally, right? There's exceptions to this because, you know, depending on the fighter, which is why I'll get onto a minute, which you should home in on one of these. But the thumb facing up hook is opens up the back muscles, okay? So it's invoking a lot more muscles, and obviously the power is generated from the ground, right? This is the rhythm, boom, like that, boom. And you get a nice whip, boom, like that. I like the thumb facing up hook, right? It is more powerful, but it's more loose, it's more wide. I got more range with it. I really worked on that for several years. And then I worked on the shorter one because I wanted shorter punches, boom, on the inside, right? Boom, like that. But you should definitely try to understand which one you're better at, because you're gonna be better. After just the experience I've had of training beginners, I've noticed the trajectory of one or the other suits them, which is, you know, normal really. You're gonna find one is gonna be easier for you to throw because, as I said, the rhythm and the trajectory are slightly different. So whatever one works for you, focus on that one. That's my advice, you know. You can work on them both if you want, but I think it's a good idea to, you know, really understand what you're good at, because once you start getting good at it from the technique point of view, it will feel good, then you can practice it and then you can build up your confidence, stuff like that, you know what I mean? But yeah, the complexities of a hook, I mean, it really is a fascinating punch. As I said, the dynamic, the range, you know, you got, I'll do a separate video for a left hook to the body, right? Left hook to the body is a completely different punch, and actually like your lead punches are usually a little bit harder because there's not as much well, it can feel suffocating, especially uppercuts when we're talking about hooks. So my point is, sometimes it's good to drop the shoulder, right? Because if I'm like that, I'm kind of, feels okay for me, but at first it was awkward. But when you drop the shoulder, it opens up a bit of space, if that makes any sense. It just allows you to, because actually here's a good way to practice the left hook, right? If you throw the cross or the backhand, this pushes the shoulders back, right? And that will help set up the left hook, and that's where I'm going with this. If you're doing it without that, boom, that here, if I'm just here, I can, boom, that really helps me to understand how it puts your body in a position. And as a beginner, it's really beneficial for you to learn like that, I think, you know. But also, if you are having problems with the lead left hook, chuck that backhand in, turn your body, turn your hips, rotate, and do it the other way. And relax. You know, relaxing is really important too. Relaxing is actually not really important. It's extremely important. It's one of the most important things, you know, you can probably do for yourself. Just mentally clear your mind, relax your shoulders, relax your whole energy, right? Because it's just going to help with your technique. It's going to help with your processing ability mentally, right? And you're going to feel a lot more comfortable. You know, the more tense you are like that with your shoulders scrunched up, and I'm burning energy like this, my muscles are all tight. We'll talk about muscle coordination. That's going to be a big part of it too. Muscle coordination is the alignment of all your muscles working together in harmony, right? Like that, right? Nice, but it's harder to get that when you're not relaxed. Or when you are relaxed, the coordination of your muscles becomes a lot more fluid. All right, there's a lot of science and art involved in this, and as this channel, as we grow, I'm going to delve into the art and the science, but you know, keep it for beginners, of course, but stay relaxed, you know. And you know, if you're just trying to practice the left hook, right, stay in one place, don't move your feet just yet, you know. Try to do this a lot, practice a lot, where you can just keep throwing the same punch over and over and over. And then, because when you start to move your feet, you know, it's going to become a little bit harder for you to do. But ultimately, you want to move your feet. But what I'm saying is, it's a good idea to stay stationary to get that technique going first of all. That's what I would recommend. But yeah, the complexities of a hook. Let me change the camera angle and I'll zoom in and show you a bit more detail about how to throw it really quickly. Yeah, this might work, it might not. I'm gonna try to get as close as I can. So yeah, if I were you, get a good stance, nice and relaxed, hands on the chin, and understand how to get your hand from here to here, all right? Hopefully the camera angle works, right? And part of that is the process of just whipping the shot around, right? Go slowly like that, boom. If you need to drop the left shoulder back here, bang, that's fine. Do that a lot, right? Get the rhythm. Find out which punch you're better at. Is it the thumb facing up? Is it the palm facing down? Literally the palm facing down like that, and literally the thumb facing up. Because as I said, the trajectory is way different. Not way different, but different, and you'll feel it. And you'll be better at one. Don't forget to rotate the shoulders. If you look here, my shoulder's out front, right? My back shoulder's right here, and it comes here. And then when I say drop the shoulder, you could almost go far as back as that, bang. And when you throw the right hand, boom, it sets up the back shoulder, bang, right? That's what I mean by rotating your shoulders. Rotating your shoulders is a massive part of punching. I've spoken about a lot on this channel. You know, it's even necessary even when throwing a lead hook, just because, bang, like that, boom. And then bring the punch right back to your chin, right? This is really important. It starts from your chin, it ends on your chin, right? You don't want it to be drifting around, not as a beginner. As a pro, or as you get more experience, it's a little different. You're gonna find your own, you know, rhythm and stuff like that, own style. But for now, I think it's really important to have your hands on your chin, and then when you punch, boom, comes right back to your chin, right? Stays here, whatever punches, bam, bam, okay? And then that's it. Yeah, hopefully this video helped a lot, and you know, as I said, I'm going to be trying to do more of these where I can just elaborate a little bit more. I'm not in the gym, so I don't have, you know, the demonstration on the bag, but I can also just articulate myself a little bit more and, you know, speak a bit more freely with more articulation. And as the channel grows, I'm going to tweak it a little bit and get it as professional as I possibly can, because that's a big part of the channel, you know. A little bit of art, science as I grow, and just bring you guys as much information to help you as much as I can, because that's I love doing, you know. I love helping beginners, and I love helping people that really want to be helped. That's the key, you know. If you got the right attitude, you know, I'm here for you, especially in the comments. Whatever you need, let me know. I hope you have a beautiful week. It's Monday today. I'll hopefully get this up in the next few hours, and you know what I mean, be the best you can possibly be. That's my motto, and that's what I'm trying to do. I've got an ebook. I'll leave that in the link. I'm going to be pushing that. I'm making a video on that very soon. I'll be in the gym with more content this week. I'm out of here. Peace, love, boxing on the edge.